All right, this is lesson number two. Lesson number two, and this is called layer loops. The idea of layering loops is to be able to create sounds that have contrast, sounds that don't run into each other, and that makes the music sound bigger. So let's try to do that today. All right, first step, we're going to enter the studio. You're going to click on music. And then you know the skill from last time. What you're going to do is you're going to create a loop. So you're going to click on the loop button. And this time, let's try to find a synth. And you could scan down for different kinds of synths. You could preview different ones. Cool, let's use this one. Double click and it shows up on the timeline. And now it's looping back and forth. So this is called Synth Bloom 1. We're in B minor. All right, now let's add a beat to it so it makes us want to dance. Go over to drums. Let's look for different beats. Now I'm looking for something that makes the sound like open up a little bit. That's cool. So kind of like doesn't get in the way of the other thing, and it still allows it to breathe. Let's have something that has a little bit of a bump to it. Let's add 909. Cool. All right, let's add some bass. Let's get something really, really low so that it doesn't get in the way of everything else. Doesn't really match. Yeah. That sounds cool. Awesome, now let's add some snare fills. Let's see if we could find it in the loops. SFX, special effects. Cool. Let's add it at the end. Oops. Cool, let me fix this. This is too long. All right. That snare drum is like right in the middle of the frequencies. So we have a lot of highs, we have a lot of lows. We have this little sweepy sounding thing, but we don't really have this middle frequency thing that really cuts. And so when you put it in, notice I don't really have to tweak the volume over here because it's just, you know, it's not getting in the way of anything else. All right, cool. Now it sounds like we need to like add something that's like long, like a lot of long notes. Let's go to synthesizer. And let's find a synthesizer sound that has long notes. I'm gonna just hold a note. Keep it simple. All right, so I just literally just played that note the whole entire time. So there was nothing special about it except that it's just totally different because everything else has so many notes. You can see all the different notes here. This one here is just one long note. So I'm just adding some contrast. I'm gonna pull the volume down just a bit because it's not the melody. Maybe bring it down to like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Cool. We could add another lead part, something that cuts, and let's find something that as contrast to all the other sounds that we have. That's pretty contrast. I don't know if that would sound good. That's cool. I'm in the key of B minor, so B minor would be B, then the C sharp, and a D, and I'm just playing the 5th, but just dropping it low. Cool, let's try that. Try recording that. And I'm just staying in the key. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and. All right, let's see how that sounds. All right, cool. It's not as accurate as I want, so I could go to this. If I go under Edit, then I could quantize it. Let's do 8th notes. So again, we have a lot of contrast, different sounds that don't really clash. Bring the volume down a little bit. Cool, so that's the idea, right? When you stack stuff, you just want to make sure that things don't get in the way of each other. Think about frequencies, think about rhythms. Rhythms can be totally different. We could add another rhythm, right? We have nothing that's really on all the offbeats. So let's try another stack. Let's try putting in a, I don't know, let's try putting in a banjo. So something really percussive, and something really percussive and just really short. It will get out of the way really fast, and so that should be a pretty good contrast. Let's see if that actually sounds right. Good. So that's again completely different, right? That's on all the offbeats. That's really short. It's getting out of the way of everything else. Cool. Now I think some of those sounds were better than others. So we could actually click on Edit, and you could click on where it says Edit Notes. You could actually see the notes that you were working on. So you could see here, it's kind of hard to see. So I'm going to use this to make it bigger, and you could see my inaccuracies. The notes, you can see that some of them I played long, some of them played short. Let's try making them all the same size. So I could actually go to the side here, and I could like squeeze them a little bit or drag them so that they sound similar. So that's one way of doing it. Another option is you could go over here to Edit, and you could quantize like we did before. Those are 8 notes. And another option you could do, I'm going to make my screen a little smaller here, is you could take your best 4 measures. You could take your best 4 measures And rather than doing the looping thing, I'm going to grab the bottom here. It says adjust end and just loop my best 4 measures. So that will just loop those over and over and over again. Oh, I forgot to save. That's dangerous. All right, so let me just save this. This is lesson number 2, layering loops, and hit save. I should have saved a long time ago. All right, let's try it. Not sure if I like that. I could go back and see if I find other ones. I like the ones in the middle. They kind of sound more robotic. Let's see if I could grab those. Let's do those. So I'm just going to grab those and bring them to the front. Still don't like it. Let's try that. Just these 4. Cool. And I can make this long. Start from the beginning. Pull the volume down. Kind of gets in the way of the siren bell thing. Couple options. I could just totally get rid of that part. I could change the sound. See what happens. Let's try. If I click on here, I could change the sound. Cool. So that's another option. I changed it to ukulele. Who would guess? Ukulele could be in that. All right. So now I have a lot of layers, and it's a lot of, I've changed with volume. I have tried stuff with changing with volume. I tried stuff with having long sounds, short sounds. There's other things you could do to make it sound cool. If you click on this squiggly line thing here, it says show hide automations. And if you click on this, it says automation. If you click on automation, there's something called pan. If you click on pan, you could move this to the right or left side of your speakers. So just to experiment, let's just pull it all the way up and let's hear where the ukulele shows up. I'm just going to solo the ukulele so you could hear it. All right, so that's showing up in my right ear. And if I move it down, oops. I could take this whole thing and just drag it down, see what happens. It's in my left ear. So I could actually mess around with how this thing pans. Now, you'll notice that I accidentally made dots. So I could do dots to create where it might move. Let me click this snap to grid thing. I don't want it to be so precise. The grid is just this grid you see on the timeline. I just want to unsnap that. And let's try what happens if we pan it, but make it go different locations. So it's not always in the same ear. Like one time it'll be on the left ear, the next time it'll be on the right ear. Let's see what happens to the music if we do that. All right, so every 2 measures will flip. Left, right ear, left ear, and right ear. Maybe that will open up the sound a little bit so it won't get in the way. All right, I'm going to click this to get out of that. And I'm going to click the headphone thing so I'm not soloing it anymore. Let's hear how it sounds like with the rest of the mix. So again, I'm contrasting by switching ears and switching parts. Cool. Let's try Turn the volume down a little bit. Cool, I could even like add effects. Let's say I want this have the sharp attack, but now I want it to like echo for a while. So where it says reverb, reverb is like the echo button. And that way it's like short and echoey, but it still sounds like it's in the same room because it still has an echoey sound, but it like most of the sound is really short. Let's try it again. I'm just moving it up and down. Cool. Now that you got all these layers, you could go absolutely insane. Let me shrink this a little bit. You could go absolutely insane. I don't think it's like really tasteful to have everything playing at the same exact time. I think that it's like trying to cook and all the ingredients happen at once. That doesn't really make sense. So one thing you could do before you like create a full song and use up the whole entire computer screen creating a song, right? You could do that by moving different parts everywhere. You could just solo different parts and then just start adding, right? You could solo it, solo different parts and start adding it. So let's just start with the synth in the beginning. I'm gonna click these headphones and it says solo this track. So what it means is it's just gonna play the top track. And this is just a way to like arrange. You start putting in the layers at different times, you click them on and off, and you know, you start having a feel for like what it might sound like, and whatever combinations you like, you could create a whole entire song based on that. Here we go. So just on our synth, Bloom. Yeah. Let's add some drums. All right, we feel that. Now add the bass, the basic drum beat. Oh, let's go back to that simple, like, percussive sound. Add the drums. Back to percussion. Add it back. Here we go. Let's add some bass now. Let's add the snare. All right, add the long notes. All right, let's cut out the bass. Cut out the drum set. All right. Now let's add the siren melody. Maybe not the exact timing I wanted, but this gives me an idea on how I want to do this. Bring it down just a little bit. Drums. There we go. Take out the pad. Add the pad. Percussion. And let's throw everything back in. Cool, and that's how you make your song. And then so you could take those things, slide them around to the order you want, and then when you're done, you could do this cool thing, which a lot of people do, is if you take the very top here, and you get this little bar, it says fade out. So you could actually fade everything out. You could do like a long fade or soft fade. And so it makes it sound like the song is just going away to the distance. I'm going to fade all the parts. And let's hear how that sounds. I'm going to take the looper off. So here we go. And that's it. Click save. Layering loops. Think about contrast. Think about different parts. You could have contrast in rhythms. You could have contrast in sounds. You could have contrast in high notes, low notes, middle notes. You could have contrast with notes that attack really hard or notes that are like really chill. You could also do the cool thing where you like pan it. You could move stuff to one ear to the other ear so it gets out of the way of each other. All right. Wish you luck. I know that was a lot of information. Have fun.